Allah took his soul and then returned it. It's the same thing like the woman, let me tell you the story. She had a heart attack. So they called the ambulance, the paramedics they call. So they came and they checked her out. No sign of life, but they put her in the ambulance and they took her to the hospital. When she arrived at the hospital, they checked her and they wrote, dead on arrival. So they set the body in a place called the morgue. And then a doctor has to come to perform what is known as a post-mortem to find out the cause of death. So when a post-mortem takes place, the body is naked. And the doctor has his sleeve rolled up, he has a knife in his hand, and when he's about to cut her, she opens her eyes. And she sees this man with a knife and herself naked. And she screams out. So the doctor replies with the certainty that medical science always has when it's confronted with religion. The doctor said, "Madam, you're dead." Because medical science cannot explain. There was absolutely no sign of life. So she was dead on arrival. Medical science cannot explain that Allah can take a soul and return it. All right? Except that may Allah protect me and you. May Allah protect us from the most horrible punishment He can give. I don't know if there's any punishment worse than this. Yes. I shiver when I think of it. That Allah takes the soul and the family is grieving and they have the ghusl and the salatul janaza and you go to the cemetery and they bury you. But they forgot to put a cell phone when they buried you. So after the people had left the cemetery, then Allah returned the soul. And you wake up and you find the place is so dark. I didn't go to sleep like this. And this is strange clothes. I didn't go to sleep in this clothes. And this smell of camphor. Why? He's puzzled. This pitiable man. And he tries to get up. But I can't get up this space. Where am I? So he calls out to Dulhan, Dulhan! But no Dulhan. He's shouting, nobody's answering. And then slowly and bitterly, he realizes he'd been buried in his own grave. And he'll stay there. He can shout and scream as much as he wants. The only one who will hear him is a dog. And he'll die there. I can't think of a worse death than that. I can't. And so now, we know Allah took his soul and returned it, and then raised him unto himself. So she did not die, except the doctor saying to Madam, you're dead. And Nabi Isa alayhi salam did not die. But Nabi Isa alayhi salam himself brought the dead back to life on several occasions. How do we explain it? Answer. that Allah took the soul and allowed the soul to be returned through Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And that's how he gave life to the dead. And so now, we have a conclusion. And the conclusion is that he did not die. But Allah says, Kullu nafsin za'ikatul maut. Every soul must taste maut or death. And since he did not taste maut, he did not die, then the implication which arises from the Quran, we're not touching the hadith, is that he must die one day. And so we say, here is the first proof from the Quran that he will return. And our Prophet ﷺ prophesied that he will return. And when he returns, he will die. And our Prophet said, ﷺ, you'll perform the prayer, the Salatul Janazah over him. And after he dies, he will be buried. And our Prophet ﷺ said he'll be buried next to me. This is the first proof from the Quran.